What is going on, everybody? Welcome
What it
to
do?
a very special episode of Niko Knows Best. We have greatness with us today. The TNA World Champion Moose. Moose, thank you so much for joining us. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. We are huge fans. We've been following you for many, many years. February, let's get right to it. February 23rd, you're going to be facing Alex Shelley. You took the belt from him. He's obviously bitter. No surrender rules, meaning a towel needs to be thrown in by your corner. How bad is this going to be for poor Alex?
I rightfully think he has the overall experience in pro wrestling than I do, but I think when it comes to matches like this and brutal matches and gimmick matches, I think I have more of an advantage because I've been in more of those matches than he has. I think it's really going to be bad for him. He just doesn't understand that yet. But I think a few minutes into the match, he's going to realize that he signed up for the worst night of his life.
And
Absolutely.
what's walk me through like a mental preparation for Moose for a big match like No Surrender. How do you mentally prepare yourself to
Um,
basically up the ante from the last match you had with him and make this one better?
I mean, it's the same preparation, honestly. I don't go in there thinking that. It's just another day at the office for me. And I always go in thinking and then looking forward to putting 110% and giving back the passion and love I have for pro wrestling. So, and that's what I'm going to do today.
Now you've been wrestling for, I think 2012. I saw you started wrestling, so over a decade now. Before that, you were NFL. You drafted by the Falcons, played, Patriots. How did you get from football to pro wrestling?
I mean, the same way everybody gets into pro wrestling, just finding a school close by to them, putting in 110%, putting in passion, putting in discipline, and seeing how far they could go. And luckily, it's taken me on a long journey all over the world and different continents, and to being TNA World Champion.
We've
Absolutely.
seen a lot of people transition from sports, football, basketball, soccer, whatever, into pro wrestling. Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, the guys like that. And you've been able to succeed doing that. What are some tools that football taught you that you brought to wrestling?
Just the most thing, because it's two different things, right? So, but the most thing that football helped me with is discipline, setting a schedule, and following a game plan. So,
So you've been at TNA a while now. I consider you the face of TNA. I'm sure you consider yourself the face of TNA as well. What is your most memorable match or moment that you've had at TNA so far in your illustrious career there?
for sure. First of all, I'm one of those guys that believe that the face of a wrestling company is not always. It's never one person. It's a group of people. Because I mean, honestly, the face of TNA right now consists of maybe three, four guys, myself included. Probably I'll say Josh. I'll probably say Jordan Grace, and I'll probably say the Motor City Machine Guns. And you talk about the most dominant figure in TNA, which is probably myself, probably the best wrestler. Some would say that probably goes to Josh, the most dominant knockout, which will probably go to Jordan, and the most dominant or tag team that comes to mind in this era is just probably the Motor City Machine Gun. So I don't think solely I'm the face of TNA, but I think a group of us put together are the faces of TNA. I think that's for any sport. I think that's for any wrestling company. I don't think it's just always one person. It's never one person. It's a team effort.
Absolutely.
How is you wrestled in Japan for a little while. How is wrestling in Japan compared to wrestling in the States?
I mean, it's two different styles. It's two different styles. Like, it's hard for me to explain it with words. Can I do it? Yes. I actually enjoy the Japanese style wrestling a little bit better. It's a little more simpler. But it's definitely two different styles that you have to submerge yourself into it to be able to see the difference. But it's definitely hard to explain verbally.
Yeah,
Strong
I can
style.
see that. Strong style.
You know, you're influencing a lot of people now in pro wrestling. They're seeing you as the world champion, and they're thinking, you know, maybe one day I could be a world champion as well, like Moose is. Who are some of the influences you had in getting into pro wrestling that made you believe maybe you could be like that person?
Oh man, I had a ton. I could sit here and list a bunch of names. For me, like I said, it wasn't just one person. It was a few that I was a big fan of, from Ric Flair to the late Razor Ramon to Bill Goldberg, the Ultimate Warrior. Like, it's a list of people. It's never one guy. It's a list of people that I remember. Even Rey Mysterio. I remember. Rich Tam shows how old he is because he's still doing it, right? And doing it at a high level too.
Very high level, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, but it's a list of people, of maybe 10 wrestlers that I was a huge fan of. Uh,
That's a pretty great list of names you named there. I mean, if those are the people motivating you, I've been watching wrestling my whole life. I know you obviously you're naming people like Ric Flair, so I've been watching wrestling a few minutes as well. You're going to be 40 in April. Happy early birthday. What is it like wrestling at 40 compared to wrestling in your late 20s when you first started? As far as, you know, getting in the ring, doing it, waking up the next day, all that.
Honestly, I believe it or not, I feel better now at 40 than I did when I got into wrestling at 28 years old. Oh no, yeah, 28 years old. Is that right? Yeah,
I think
28 years old.
that's what my research said. I could be off. You know how
Damn,
these pages are.
I, I'm, I can't. I've been wrestling for a long time. It's almost damn well 12 years.
12 years, it said, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I feel better now. I mean, you got to think about when I got into wrestling, I was 310, 15 pounds, and now I'm 250 pounds. So I feel much healthier. I feel quicker, uh, more agile than I was when I got into it. So I might be older, but I definitely feel younger, if that makes any sense.
It does, yeah.
What kind of things help you with that? Is it when I see you wrestle, I it's like you're stress free almost. You're very relaxed out there, and then you go to work. Is it the stress, the food, your food
It's
habits?
a combination of a bunch of things. Definitely, your nutrition has a lot to do with it. Me being a lot of people who know me would tell you that I'm very mellow. I try to live a stress-free life, and it's even better. Whatever issues I have, the 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes I'm in the ring, that's definitely a time that I get to just not think about anything but enjoy what I'm actually doing, and I don't take it for granted. So I'm glad that you guys see that, because I do cherish those moments that I have in the ring, even though sometimes those moments suck and it hurts and it's painful, but I do truly cherish them because I get doing something I love to do.
You have an aura about you. We've seen you in the ring several times. How important is it to you to have, to be very muscular and very have that, presence that you have?
I think it's very important because if you pay attention to some of the guys I named, they all had a certain look where they had like a muscular
Yeah.
frame to them. I think that's what, if you was to create a pro wrestling video game, you would definitely 9 out of 10 people will want their wrestler to be very muscular. So I think makes that's one of the things that makes the perfect wrestlers. They for sure have to be muscular. So having that in mind, that's why I'm 100% of my nutrition daily to try to keep a certain look that I believe makes a perfect wrestler.
Is it getting harder to maintain that as you get older to keep that look and that what you're looking to achieve?
I don't think age has anything to do with that more than your discipline does.
Yeah,
It just it doesn't get harder. I mean, it's it doesn't get hard at all. It's more the discipline and your how long you want to keep up the look because being sometimes as hard or as lean, it might not be healthy for you, and that's something a lot of people don't know. Is being a certain leanness is not healthy to the human body. So it's taking the time to get to a certain look, and then taking the time to living freely and eating whatever you want, and then getting back to that look. So it's all about when do I want to do it? When do I want to be as lean as I possibly can? When do I want to have that freedom to eat whatever I want? It's all about picking in time and then um, scheduling.
absolutely.
Hey Moose, speaking of relaxed and mental relaxation, I've a lot of people on the internet, they question, they're like, hey, why hasn't Moose done this? Why hasn't Moose done that? He's been in the business for a while now. He seems a little comfortable. The internet would say, what keeps you bound to TNA and not towards that limelight that people can see you as, when it comes to your wrestling career? It almost seems like you've held a ground in TNA and haven't really gone outwards, outside those boundaries. What keeps you maintained at TNA instead of excelling to that household name that everyone um, questions why you're not known as?
Because I mean, certain people have different things that motivate them and search for different things. I live a very simple life, and I mean, you have to think about that. I've worked for the biggest company in the world, which is the NFL. So I know what
Right.
working for a huge company. I know the positive, the pros, and the cons of what working for a big company feels like, and I'm just comfortable where I'm at right now, and I don't think I need to leave where I'm at. I'm happy where I'm at. I make good money where I'm at, and I'm in a good position where I'm at. So I don't make my decisions because a certain group of people who I don't know want me to make that decision. I make my decision because what I feel is good for me and my family. So to answer your question, that's why I haven't made the jump to go elsewhere or to stay where I'm at because it's at this moment of life that's what's more comfortable for me.
And
And I feel it.
what is the TNA locker room like? I hear there's a lot of good things. Everyone bonds back there. What's the TNA locker room like to you?
If I was to use one word to describe our locker room, that word would be family. And I think a lot of people say that word and don't actually understand the meaning of it. But I think that's one thing that's great about our locker room is that that's the vibe you get when you come into our locker room. It's more of is a huge family.
I really feel like TNA is on the cusp of taking it to the next level. You know, they did the rebrand from Impact. You're starting to see a lot more TNA relevance on social media. Obviously, you getting the belt was a big buzz. What does it mean to you to be the TNA World Champion?
It means a lot. This is some might say it's my second reign, some might say it's my third reign. It all depends on what you think is real and what you think is not. but it's this is
We go with third by three, by the way, for
yeah.
you.
I mean, I think it's a big deal being the world champion of a major company, and it was definitely my goal coming into 2024. I'm happy I'm able to check off one of my goals for this new year.
Very nice. You know, outside the mat, obviously, we've been talking about wrestling for almost 20 minutes now. What are some of the passions or hobbies that you have outside of professional wrestling that you enjoy doing when you're not Moose, the TNA World Champion?
I love going to the gym. I think that's probably my big thing. I love going to the gym. It's a big stress reliever for me when I do the few times I do have stress. And I love to eat. That's my big
too.
two things is I love to eat and I love going to the gym. I'm really simple. I'm very simple. So there's not much to the guy who plays Moose. And there's not much to Moose. Is I love to eat. I love to go to the gym. I love to sit in a room playing video games while my wife is literally sitting next to me and watching murder shows or doing whatever she does.
I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time, Moose. I really appreciate it. We're gonna go ahead and let you go.
Yeah,
We
I
don't want
have
to take
one more question for Moose. Moose, you're a basketball fan. From what I heard on other podcasts, what you think of the NBA All-Star game? How do you feel the All-Star game should be going forward? The guy scored 200 and something points, 185 points, something I've never seen before.
I mean, I understand both sides of it because I was once a professional athlete, and I understand the fans aspect of it. So I really don't have a side. I get why they don't want to take it serious because you don't want to have a bad injury. And fans, this is the thing. Fans say, "Oh, this guy's going to play serious," until the best player on your team that's in an All-Star blows his knee out because he's playing too serious. And then the same fan that wants them to play serious, is going to be like, "That's bullshit. He shouldn't have been playing that serious." So you got to look at it from both sides. It's like you guys wanted to play serious, but then you guys will be real mad when the best player of your home team plays too serious and tears his ACL or blows his knee out or something bad happens and your team doesn't go far in the playoffs because he took the All-Star game too serious. So I see both sides. I have no opinion on it. I'm indifferent. The only thing I do think is Jaylen Brown should never be able to do another dunk contest ever in the history of dunk contest or
awful dunk
because I think I could have done better dunks than he did. That was horrible. But for the All-Star game, I really don't have. I'm happy with them playing no defense and it just being a shoot around or a dunk off. And I'm happy if they decide to play harder. Like I see it both sides. I have no saying. I see both sides of the fence, and whatever they decide to do, I'm happy with either decision they make.
Moose, thank you so much for your time. February 23rd, Moose is going to put a beat down on poor Alex Shelley in a no surrender rules, throw in the towel match. I'm going to watch it like this. I'm going to enjoy it because I'm a huge fan of you, but I feel bad for Alex, honestly. It's not going to go the way. But thank you so much for your time. We truly appreciate it, and we will be talking to you soon. Have a great day.
All right,
thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
See you later, Moose.